Welcome to the Holistic Kid Show. My name is Zain.
My name is Abdullah.
My name is Emaad. And my name is Qasim.
We're the Holistic Kids here to educate my us kids from the inside out. But today we're turning the tables. We're not interviewing, but being interviewed by the Dr. Joel Gator Warsh, integrative pediatrician, best-selling author. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you guys for having me on. And yeah, I thought it would be a lot of fun because I know when you do a show like this, you guys are always asking questions, but then the audience doesn't always get to know you guys that much. But also because you have a book coming out, I thought it'd be really interesting to ask you guys some questions about your book and about why you did it, because I think that's really interesting for people to hear. It's interesting to hear from other people, but it's really your show. So they're coming on to listen to learn about you guys. So let's just start there. I'm very curious. You guys are super busy. You're doing all your schoolwork. You guys are traveling around, which is pretty fun, going to talk at things and doing this show. But writing a book's a big project. So what made you guys want to write a book?
So we first started during COVID. We really started when it comes to the podcast. During COVID, everyone was just confused about their health. They started thinking more about their health, and we were a lot younger at the time, so we were also starting to think more like what happens if we can talk to experts about this, so maybe we can learn and our audience can learn with us.
And so we decided to educate ourselves, and we started. I know I think you're a second episode of her.
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was like ages ago. But we started the podcast, and we decided to do like a test run. Like for 10 episodes, we decided to see how it was. In those 10 episodes, we gained so much valuable information that we could use in our lives that we decided to continue to keep on making episodes. And we continue to learn stuff. We continue to be able to add things into our lives that we never would have without the podcast. And from there on out, now we have the book, and we're spreading this message to the entire world now.
How did you guys go about writing the book? Did you guys take turns? Did you do different sections? Did you break it up? How did you the book's a lot of work, a lot of pages. So how did you guys do that?
Well, I think we had different roles in this. Like I wrote the baseline of the book. Emaad and Qasim did a lot of editing, and they're the ones that add the jokes, the stories. They add some quotes. And Abdullah, he came in there and he added all the science and he added his own touch to it. And while our mom, she fact checked everything and added the medical perspective to it.
That's really cool. And did the book, now that you're done, did it come out what you thought it was going to come out? Was it very different than what you first started? How did it turn out compared to what you thought it was going to be like?
So actually, we had kind of a different idea for the book, where we wanted it to be on a page, we wanted one giant tip. Because we saw in some other books that when you're flipping through a book and you stop when you see a giant quote on a page. The thing is that the publishers, they didn't allow that. They were like, it's too unorthodox. They stick with the regulars. They're like, fine. And so from there on out, now we have it where we have the tips, but they weren't exactly how we wanted it. But we still are really satisfied.
We added our jokes on.
Yeah, and also now the tips, they have their own illustrations, so I guess it kind of worked out for the better because.
Cool. Do you have a favorite tip from the book that you want people to know about, like a big tip?
There's a lot of good information.
Yeah.
So.
I think.
What's your favorite? You have a one that's your each favorite? I know it's probably hard, right?
I think for me, my favorite is food is power, food is information, food dictates every single organism and every single molecular process in your body. It was just like opening the world on how important food is and why this book needed to target specifically food, but then how food is connected to every single thing you do in your life.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I'm curious because so you guys are doing this book and you're talking about, I guess, kids and teens health, right? So when you are around other kids, what do you feel like kids are unhealthy based on what you're seeing? Do you feel like a lot of kids are sick more than they should be and not living as healthy as they could be?
Yeah. Well, if you look at the statistics, 1 in 3 teens have pre-diabetes, so it's definitely sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and 70%.
not statistics. I'm curious. What are you actually seeing when you go to school? When you're around friends, like, do you actually think, based on what you're seeing, does it concern you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because basically, especially in lunchtime, just everyone's just shoving whatever they want in their mouth. They're like fighting for candy sometimes. They're just like, whenever there's like a candy option that the teacher puts out, everyone's just gonna race to grab it or something. And when they put it as a prize, everyone's gonna really start working a lot more competitive. So they're just so addicted to these ultra processed foods that it really does make me sad.
Do you think we can change that?
100%. I think the main problem with all of this is the lack of education that teens and kids and even and a lot of parents have on living well. Because right now we live in a time where there's so much information out there, but because of how the companies in the food industry is controlling that information, they're pushing their own agenda, and then they're saying, "Oh yeah, no, everything that we do is fine. You know, you're safe with us. You can trust us." When in reality, it's quite the opposite, and they're the ones that's controlling the narrative on whether or not foods are healthy or they're good for you or they're causing problems. And if anything has to do against their product, well, then that study doesn't exist anymore.
That's totally true. And do you guys feel like when you were around other kids, do you feel like the weird kids, like the kids that are outside the normal, the way that you're eating? And how do you handle, being different? Yeah, because I feel like my kids, sometimes they feel different too. Like, at a party or school lunches, like, how do you handle being different if you feel like you're different?
Yeah, and that's understandable because like when you're the only one that's doing this, you can feel different sometimes, but when you know why you're doing this and how like it's hurting everyone else's, like for me, I just feel like that, you know what, they're the ones being weird because I'm the one that's eating normal food. They're eating a bunch of ultra processed junk.
Yeah, I agree. Do you hope to talk directly to teens and other kids so that they learn this, so they don't feel like they're weird, or do you feel like you want to talk to parents more to educate the families more, or both? Like, who are you trying to get your message to?
100% anyone that we can, because this isn't just a problem for teens. This isn't just a problem for kids. This isn't just a problem for adults. It's a problem for all humans. And so anybody that can hear this and benefit, whether they're 70 years old, they're 10 years old, they're 15, they're even 30, it's a universal ageless message that we hope that anybody can then pick up and want to become better in their life. It's really just that simple. I mean, sadly, we've made it so hard.
We have, and I love your message, and I guess, if you're talking to a parent or somebody who runs a school, tell them what if they're listening to this, like what should they do? How should they redesign the cafeteria? What kind of food should they have? What do you guys think?
I think that they should focus on more real food. So just like keeping it more simple instead of just putting all of their money into all of this like pizza that is like super ultra processed, and like they do that a lot. Instead, they can just focus on like some more high quality meals, even like that are just real food.
Emaad, what do you think about in middle school?
In middle school, like there's a snack line. It's gonna kind of go crazy. Like everybody goes crazy about it. So I think like eliminating the snack line and maybe reversing like what they eat in the snack line.
And reversing it how? Like what would you want? Because I guess that the issue always is, a lot of kids, they're used to the junk food. They want that, and they don't even know the other food. So what do you think they should replace it with, or how? Like I don't think it's that easy. I think it should be done, but how do you think we should actually make that change?
So like we can just swap out the bad food with the good food. Like if there's like bad chips, we can have we have a brand called Siete that is really good, and we can just swap out those small things because it's always like
yeah, there's always alternatives to everything.
I think like at school the cafeteria tricks them because the cafeteria company is Organic Life.
The thing is that we looked into them and they're not 100% organic, but because they want everyone to be like, oh yeah, there's a more healthier option, then they're able to, get into the system and change things up that work in their favor.
Yeah,
So,
and keep going.
So that's why I'm saying that right now, also just to add on to what they were saying, maybe even making vegetables and fruits more fun. Making it in a way, preparing the dish in a way so that it's actually enjoyable to eat. Because right now, you just have hard, stale, cold, like carrots and broccoli and Brussels sprouts. But let's be realistic here. Nobody's going to have it.
And I know you guys are very involved in food, but that's not a part of school anymore. Even when I grew up, I mean, we didn't really have food, like home ec or like teaching kids. Do you think that would be a good idea to go back, put like kitchens that kids can actually learn how to cook the food again and be a part of it? Like, should we bring that back?
I definitely think so. Because cooking is a life skill, and especially when you teach kids how to cook, they'll just grow up and be able to cook for themselves.
They're not going to be just depending on their parents when they're like gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't you think it's weird that all that important stuff about life, like they took out of school?
Yeah.
Learning how to do like cooking and just like exercise and just life skills. Like it's all just math and science and all that stuff, which is important too. But
you don't learn how to treat your body well. I mean, exercise and stuff, but you don't actually learn about what ultra processed do for you. You don't learn about how this food is going to affect you, or how this act or this thing that you do is going to now be dangerous for you, or not good for you. So just being able, I think, schools definitely need to step up their game when it comes to actually real life skills. I heard a lot of people complaining that they don't learn taxes in school. So, maybe add taxes in there. I don't know, eventually.
I agree. I mean, all that stuff, you don't have to necessarily learn how to do your taxes, but you probably should learn what it means, learn about money, like all these things that actually would be useful in life, even if it's just one day, just to kind of have an idea. Because how do you know otherwise, unless your parents teach you?
Yeah, exactly. And I know a lot of teens that, like, a lot of my friends, they go to college and then they're like I don't know how to survive outside of school, because I don't know how to make my own stuff. I don't know how to even clean my own dishes sometimes. I don't even know how to function by myself in the real world. Schools really do need to step up their game, because nowadays I see a lot of the people I know, my peers and classmates that are going off to college, that a lot of them are struggling to adapt to real life.
I totally agree. And I guess switching gears a little bit, because we talked about food a lot. What about, I know you guys have talked about a lot about like loneliness and social media. So I'm curious what you guys are seeing in terms of kids on their phones and social media, and also just about, do you feel like kids are lonelier than they used to be, even though there's all these phones and screens and all that stuff?
100%.
Yeah, because now why would a teen want to talk to someone where he can just go on his phone and scroll? Because to his mind, scrolling just seems like the funner option because of those dopamine hits.
So what do you think? So I mean, obviously, if you start to take phones away and screen time away, people are gonna, kids are gonna rebel back. So what do you think is a good, kind of middle ground? Should we start having rules around social media? Should we have phones given to kids older? Like, what do you think is, based on now what you've seen, what you've researched, what you see in school, like, what do you think is fair?
I think, honestly, at least no social media before age 16.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a non-negotiable, because we're always on social media, but none of us actually have any social media.
Like, I see 6-year-olds that have phones. I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah, exactly. That as well. Like, let's do some common sense and not give a 6-year-old a phone. Maybe wait until they're at least like 16.
I totally agree. And what do you have in your book, like, advice for parents? Like, what could they do to set healthy boundaries for their kids?
Well, we mainly, because this book is more towards teens, we tell the teens to be more responsible for their own choices. So we inform them to maybe put like more screen time limits, put it away, like don't always get on it. Like
we have it, so don't take your phone, don't put your phone in even the same bedroom sometimes. If it's really that bad when you go to sleep, keep it away from you. Maybe some people say like 6 feet. We also say, when you have a phone, if you want to really go on your phone, then keep a track of what you're consuming. Don't just scroll. Go on our mom used to always say, especially to me, because when I got my phone, go on their phone with a purpose. Don't just go on your phone because you're bored, but always go with a purpose. We also have, I know at the back of like the tech limits chapter, we have what the holistic kids do and what our mom taught us. So more of like the real practical stuff that I think really anybody can benefit from.
Also, I think that if you get like an EMF protector or like a blue screen, it'll stop the dopamine hits a little bit.
Yeah, no, I don't really know about that.
Gray screen.
But yeah, gray screen will definitely make it less attractive
Definitely.
to scroll.
So you mentioned your book again. Let's go back to that. Tell me about the different chapters in your book. What are the big topics? What are you guys exploring? What should people be excited to read about?
Honestly, one thing I think is exciting, especially for me because I wrote that part, but the jokes, fine. Emaad is excited about the jokes, because he wrote that part. But for me personally, how the ultra processed food company and industry actually was born from the tobacco industry. So in the book, I know we could talk about it a lot here, and maybe we'll mention it. But actually, the tobacco industry and tobacco companies actually bought out companies like Nabisco and Kraft, and they use those same engineering and scientific and behavioral sciences that they used to make smoking addictive to actually make artificial foods addictive. And then there's like an entire thing where they actually use the same scientists. Like when they bought those companies, scientists actually just moved from that place, from the tobacco companies to the food industry. And in the early 2000s, the early 2010s, that was the reality for the food industry. And that's why they were using the same marketing tactics, the same advertising tactics. You can't have just one. You have to, if you want to be cool, you're going to have Doritos, you're going to have Oreos. And I don't know about you, but I think like back in our mom's age, and you maybe your age, smoking was seen cool, right? They were like, oh yeah, just take a smoke. And the similarities between them are just horrific. They're mind-blowing on how we've been blindfolded this entire time to that reality. That's my favorite.
Yeah, no, I it's one of my favorite things that I've learned the last couple of years too. I heard it first when Callie Means was talking about it, and when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh yeah, that actually is what happened. It's so crazy because you wouldn't think about that, but that's why we have a food industry the way we have it. I mean, they're very smart. They know what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in terms of the teen health movement, because that's what you guys are trying to push, how do you see your book as a part of a change that you hope to have in the future?
We want this book to be a guide for teens to just hold in their hands and flip to a page and maybe fix their chronic issues or just educate themselves on what they're putting into their body. Because when we educate teens, then we're actually really smart. So we're going to be like, why are we eating these cancer-causing products?
We want teens to actually be able to take back their own bodies and take back their minds and actually educate themselves. Because right now we're being manipulated. We're living in an age like false information, and we the teens think that we're in control, but we're really not in control. And that's why with going through this book and asking and talking to our peers, we realize that this is the reality of the world we live in today, and change needs to happen. That's why we call this the teen health revolution.
Have you you guys have been doing a lot of talks and you've been working a lot in this field. Have you had any great stories where one of your friends or somebody that was like, oh, I never really thought about this, but now I'm actually eating healthier because of what you got, like anything that's like you can think of where you're like, oh man, it's so cool, like I actually helped somebody?
Well, I know one of my friends, I told him about this, and then he started sending me pictures. He's like, oh, I got this, like organic milk. Or they send me pictures, they're like, oh, I heard this, health information on the media. What do you think? And it's like, and the fact that they're now even thinking about their health as a teen is just the biggest win just like imaginable for us.
That's so cool. I let's do 2 more questions, then I'll let you guys go because I know you have a million interviews today, and you guys are doing, amazing work. So question number 1, can you tell us a joke from your book? Any of the jokes that you can remember?
Emaad, you got that?
I remember like this one I talk about a lot, but like it's like, why was a skeleton scared? Because it has no guts. Because I was in the gut chapters. We have like these jokes in every single chapter, like some in every single chapter.
I'm looking forward. Everyone's got to be looking forward to reading the jokes. That's what it's like to have in the book. All right, last question. So for each of you, you can kind of go through. If you were president or you were in charge of health, you took Secretary Kennedy's job right now, what would be the things that you would want to change or would want to see so that way you could have a different future for the health for all the teens?
Honestly, more education in in schools about what's really happening in the healthcare system and how you don't have to take a pill or a prescription to be healthy. If schools just taught that you can eat this, and you can live like this, and and it's possible to live without medications and heal from chronic diseases without medications, like the world would be so different. Teens would actually be able to start using their brains instead of just, not accessing the root cause and just filling their mouths with whatever. Actually being able to teach kids to read ingredients. Like the fact that high schoolers, even it's college students, and maybe even adults don't like to read ingredients is like a problem. And I think just teaching simple stuff like that might be one of the most, even though it's really small, but it might be one of the most influential, impactful things we can do.
So teaching it in school?
Yes.
And I think that just banning a lot of, first of all, banning GMOs, and second of all, banning all these all these artificial additives that they put into, because the FDA, they don't look at it as much as they should be, because this is like 300 million people that are in this country. So just the fact that they're not even taking a lot of time, they're instead just going with the companies to just let all these artificial ingredients in. I mean, when we went to Canada, we saw this, like looking at all the cereals, they were so much better. And even in Europe, where GMOs are banned, like America has so much to learn.
And like Zain was like mentioning, I think over probably 8,000 plus chemicals have actually passed through the FDA without being actually regulated. So the FDA really needs to step up their game, because I don't want to regulate random chemicals in my food that I don't know what's going to do to me, and that's not been actually verified as safe.
Yeah,
and we have the money to do it, so
Yeah, I don't even know if it's the money. You just have to want to.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to pay. I mean, it's hard in terms of there's a lot of hoops to jump through, but I mean, ultimately, you just stop doing those. You just stop letting those things be allowed. And there's really no reason for a lot of them. They just, because we can. Anything else, you guys?
No, I think I was going with the rough idea.
What about more jokes? More jokes and more jokes.
I can't remember.
All right. Well, you guys are fantastic. This is unbelievable what you guys are doing. It's extremely difficult to write a book, and I'm very excited for you. I'm ready to watch your TED Talk whenever that's going to come up soon. I'm sure you guys should start applying to like all the TED Talks around, because there are teen ones, there are kid ones. So I'm sure you guys should do that, because your message is really important. And sometimes, maybe it seems a little silly to be doing some of this stuff, but it actually going to make a huge difference. And the more that you guys can talk about this, then the more that other kids and teens are going to start to think about it. And that's actually what's going to change. I mean, people don't always want to listen to the old people. The young people you guys listen to each other, right? And old people didn't do this all that well.
That's why this book was made by teens for teens.
Yeah, because let's be completely honest here. Teens are not going to listen to adults. When it comes to listening to people, adults are like the least concerns.
Yeah, adults, I mean, especially when they're writing teen books, they don't really get the true perspective, because they're saying off of their own perspective.
And that's why we base this from teens to teens, for teens by teens.
Right. And you guys can be honest, because you can be like, look, you guys screwed up this, this, and this, you crazy adults. Like, here's what we actually need to do. It's not that complicated. And I think you can come at it from a fresh viewpoint and kind of unbiased and be like, well, this doesn't make any sense. You know, I haven't lived for 50 years, but I don't need to. Like, that's what you guys are doing is really dumb. So let's change it. And I think you guys are doing that. So you should be really proud.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
So the book, it's actually changing. The release date's actually changing to December 11th, but we can still pre-order the book today on Amazon. And we can go to the teenhealthrevolution.com website.
You get 4 also courses, bonuses. Yeah, about like tips, how to make your lunches.
Grocery shopping.
Yeah.
So definitely go check that out. We have so much information in there. Like Emaad said, from recipes to grocery lists to shopping lists to even 20 chronic conditions that teens are facing. And yes, we have acne in there. So if you definitely deal with that, then you can 100% heal acne naturally without having to take a bunch of prescriptions and face creams. So we're gonna take back control. Thank you so much. You've been an amazing host, Dr. Joel Gator Warsh. We're so honored. It's really been our pleasure.
Thank you guys.
Our pleasure. So this was so fun. You were the second interview on our podcast, and now you're interviewing us. So yeah, and that was 5.5 years ago. And now we're here with over 200 episodes. This has been so much fun. We literally grew up with you. So we're incredibly thankful for you to do this today.
Yes. Now time to recap our key points.
It is time to wake up. Teens' physical, mental, and spiritual health is suffering. It is time to be mindful of our everyday choices and decisions, and time to take charge of our health. We are the future leaders, engineers, politicians, doctors, musicians, teachers, influencers, cooks, mothers, and fathers. We need to wake up today. We teens have more power than we think. Parents, gift this book to the teens to change their lives.
And if you want to even check it out yourself, you're more than welcome to. So remember, check out the book today, releasing December 11th, 2025 this year.
Yeah, check that out. And you can pre-order on Amazon. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zain Ansari.
I'm Abdullah.
I'm Emaad.
And I'm Qasim.
Follow my family and I on social media, Holistic Mom D, and look out for our book releasing December 11th, 2025. Kids need to learn from other kids. Please download our podcast on iTunes and leave a review so other kids and families can benefit. We need to create a healthy future for all of us and the planet. Join us next week for another episode of the Holistic Kid Show. We're kids, empowering kids.
Thank you, everyone.